Today on Gray's Garage, Mr. Ryder is doing more rivets in his new floor pans of his 72 Dutch Darts, right?
The drill bit broke.
We keep breaking drill bits. I don't know why.
It broke on the second one, like
I wonder if there's a thicker piece of metal under there.
Yeah, that was the frame.
The frame, and it snapped it.
Look, the second drill bit is going through all of them.
Mm-hmm. Show me how you snap those.
Get it all the way down. There we go. And then lift up, make sure it's all the way down. There we go. Good job, dude. Keep going. Wear your hands out. Dang. Good job.
Did you smash your hand?
No, I just hit
The shock? Yeah.
Nah.
Do you want me to do a couple? Give you a break?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, let's see here.
I need to push some more down.
I like doing the ones furthest away, and then you work yourself back towards. Your job will get easier as you go if you start at the hardest ones.
I think it's funny how the guy put the mirror over the old one.
Dad's gonna do one more, and you gotta do a couple more too. Okay.
Yeah, I remember when we found out the guy put the mirror over the old broken one.
There we go. You do a couple, okay?
Yeah, show me the mirror.
Oh, this mirror that someone put over top of the other mirror. How does it come off again? Oh yeah.
Just clips on
Never seen one of those before. 300 millimeter, made in Taiwan. It's a pretty good invention. How many weeks did we have this car before we noticed that?
there. At least a
Like
few before we actually. I feel like we already started on the floor, and then we noticed that.
it looks like it's supposed to be there. All right, keep going. All right. Only 500 more to go.
All the old ones keep on falling out the front.
It's okay. Ryder's done probably 80% of the rivets. Dad has done quite a few. What's our next step after we're finished riveting these down?
We're gonna weld the bolts into the seats, and then
Weld bolts under the seats, yeah?
yeah, and then we'll drill holes for the
What are we doing with these holes?
welding.
Yeah, we're gonna fill them in. There's
There's
just
a
way,
big crack in there.
there's way too many old options of holes. And then this
I
floor
wonder how
pan
many
crack.
seats got put in
So
here before.
we're not gonna just weld the crack. We're gonna put a piece of steel plate under it and then weld it, okay? To make sure it's. Hey Ryder, what are we up to today?
We're welding the floor and putting in the seats.
Welding what on the floor?
What were we welding? Holes?
We're welding the holes, yeah. So these are all the old seat holes, and we've cut out some plates of steel, and we're gonna weld over them, and then we're gonna weld this crack as well as double plate it on both sides, and then we're gonna drill holes for what?
Seats.
New seats. So we're gonna weld up all the old holes and then mount new, make new holes, right? All right. And we're gonna use what kind of welder here? We got a little Harbor Freight flux core, huh? We'll see how that goes. I think it'll go all right.
Yeah.
Huh? And you got your own little helmet there, so you can start learning yourself,
Yeah.
right? Cool beans. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the little steel plates aren't working that great. These are too thin.
Oh.
So I'm just welding over the hole. Just plugging it.
It looks like it's working good.
It's working better than trying to plate it. Alrighty. I should have sanded it a little better, I think, but it's working pretty well versus
looks
trying to use
good.
that thin metal. The metal's too
good.
thin. I should have got thicker stuff, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
It made a cool noise though.
Do you think it makes a cool noise?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you think it makes a cool noise. Yeah. Alright, you can turn it off. Ready. Turn it off. Well, our floor pans are all riveted in. We welded in all the holes and we were out of black paint. So blue Rust-Oleum it is. We're gonna let that dry and then we're gonna measure up for the new slash really beat up AMC Javelin seats that we're going to put in here. But it's all one color, it's all vacuumed out, all the rust and holes, and all the old bolt seats are welded over, and it's pretty solid now. All right, it's Johnny with Gray's Garage. This is Mr. Ryder working on his 72 Dodge Dart, right? What are we working on here?
We're welding the bolts to the seats.
We're gonna weld some,
That's hot.
what did we learn about the kind of bolts they are?
They're grade 8.
They're grade 8 bolts, right?
So we're gonna weld those to there.
Why did we cut off the other studs?
Because they were too short and there were too many of them.
They're too short, too many of them. Too wide, because these seats aren't for this car, right? What kind of car were they from?
AMC Javelin.
AMC Javelin. So, we're gonna weld on some studs and mount these seats, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, bye. Alright, plug the welder back in.
Okay. Get your other glove.
Alright. Can you move the welder closer for me?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Get your other glove.
Just need to hold it there for a second. Pull. Huh?
Yeah.
Alright, turn it off. There we go. We welded 2.5-inch studs on the back and 2-inch studs on the front. Because of the way we want the seat to sit, we're going to use a bit of a couple washers as spacers, real heavy duty, 3/4 inch washers to get the back and the front a little bit more of a proper sitting stance. And then whatever crate, if there's any really a lot of excess under the car, I'll cut it off once it's in the car. But I think it's going to have just the right amount sticking out under the car. That's it. Seat 1 down. Got to do seat 2. And then we're just going to leave these kind of things kind of junky. They're not great shape, but they were the cheapest bucket seat we could find. A lot of people use the rollers or or a back of a screwdriver. I think sometimes use the back of a screwdriver to shove it into these grooves. But overall, I just use my hands, bend it around. We're not making show cars here. And this stuff gets so hot and bakes into it. but we just make sure it's good and tight and no air bubbles under it, and that's it. Goes in pretty quick. I don't care about any of these folds or if it kinks up on me or anything like that. It's not that important. Take a backup screwdriver, do like that, and other than that, I don't care that much. Been working on this for about 8 minutes, and we're done, a third of the car. So I'll show you some footage in a few minutes of when we're done. All right, so the keel mat is all in. A couple little blotches we missed, but that was one box. We're good. We've got the seats. We're dry fitting them in here. When we get them to where we like them, I'm going to draw a circle around all 4 bolts and sink them in, and then I'll use spacers, either steel spacers or some heavy duty washers to get the seat a little more this away. But the floors themselves are crooked. The little risers where the seats bolt have a tilt to them. So that's why I used 2 and 2.5 inch bolts, so we could have some fudge room. But it's in there, and we think it looks pretty centered. Ryder sat in the back seat and looked at it, and I looked at it. You can't see with the glare. Kind of centered it on the steering wheel, the headrest to the center of the steering wheel, and we're just gonna go for it. And then we'll do the other one. Other one's not as critical, I guess. We just want it to look good. But I think it's as pretty centered as, and it just fell over. So I gotta start over. All right. Me and Ryder out here for 6 hours today, working on this car. And it doesn't seem like we got a lot done. But we did get the holes welded up. We were able to do the kill mat down. We were able to drill all the new holes for the javelin seats. We got the driver's seat mounted, and the passenger side had some difficulties and was getting ready for dinner, but we have it marked and it can drill the holes tomorrow. But the seats operated outside of the car. They slid back and forth fine, and now that I have them in the car, it doesn't want to move, and I'm not particularly sure why, other than it's bowed, but it's not touching down there. I got multiple washers keeping it off the floor, but it doesn't want to move. Luckily, it's in a pretty good position right now, but it's stuck.